Facing a veritable must-win Game 2 at home on Wednesday night, the San Antonio Spurs knew they couldn't go about their business as usual. With his standing as the NBA's best coach in question after an awful showing in Game 1, San Antonio's Greg Popovich pulled just the right strings to even this second-round Western Conference series. Indeed, Popovich made two major adjustments that saved the Spurs' season, adjustments San Antonio will need to refine headed to Houston for Game 3, as the Rockets are sure to respond in kind. Yet doubling down on what worked in Game 2 won't be enough to carry the Spurs forward to the Western Conference Finals, especially not after a seemingly catastrophic knee injury to Tony Parker. To beat Houston, and to challenge Golden State, San Antonio has one significant change left to make. Subamim USA Today Sports. Before we get to the criticism, though, let's praise the Spurs. San Antonio's first adjustment seems obvious on the surface. Starting with the first play of Game 2, Kawhi Leonard guarded James Harden. The claw didn't stay on the beard for the duration of the contest. The Spurs need Leonard to carry them on offense, so they can dedicate him to stopping Harden full-time. Instead, Popovich kept the Rockets guessing throughout the night. Leonard defended Harden on roughly half of the possessions when they shared the court, but Harden never knew exactly when he'd have Leonard on him. That uncertainty destroyed Houston's offensive rhythm, as Harden had one of his worst games of the season. Outside of a quick, rage-driven burst in the second half after taking an elbow to the chin, the MVP candidate was a non-factor. His offensive struggles led to frustration, which led to Harden making mistakes on defense, which led to easy Spurs buckets. The concern for San Antonio is whether Leonard can maintain that two-way workload for the remainder of this series. All the while he was guarding Harden, Leonard was carrying the offense, scoring 34 points on 13 for 16 shooting and adding 7 rebounds, 8 assists and 3 steals. On the other hand, the Spurs might have no choice other than to roll the dice and see if their franchise player is human or truly an indefatigable cyborg. Defense wasn't the only issue for the Spurs in Game 1. San Antonio struggled to keep up with Houston's three-point heavy attack. Here, Popovich had an answer in Game 2 as well. As the Rockets rotated in their reserve wings and bigs, the Spurs used the opportunity to go small and beat Mike D'Antoni's team at its own game. Getting more shooters on the floor resulted in San Antonio making just 2 fewer threes than Houston, while mixing in traditional lineups throughout the game maintained the Spurs' advantage on the boards and in the paint. San Antonio will struggle to replicate that small ball success beyond Game 2 if Parker is out for the rest of the series, to be sure. Patty Mills will step up, as will Manu Ginobili, and Popovich will find rotations to hide Parker's absence to the best of this team's ability. That's still not the biggest problem for the Spurs, though. Beyond Leonard's mortality, and above Parker's injury, one huge area of concern remains for San Antonio, the existence of LaMarcus Aldridge. In the second half, those small ball lineups revolved around Pau Gasol, not Aldridge, because the latter's Spurs star is bogging his team down on both ends of the court. He continues to hold the ball too long on offense, giving the Rockets time to react to San Antonio's timing offense. Far more egregious, however, is Aldridge's defense. When the Rockets aren't shooting themselves in the foot, they're putting Aldridge in endless pick and rolls, daring him to commit to stopping Harden above the three-point line. Aldridge prefers to sag back on defense, an approach Popovich encourages because he knows his slow-footed big man doesn't have what it takes to hedge out on screens and recover in time to stop an easy dunk at the rim. But Houston thrives when bigs offer such soft coverage, essentially playing 5-on-4 with one opponent frozen to the free throw line. The Spurs can find a middle ground here. For one, Popovich told reporters after the game Aldridge is working through some things, although the coach denied Aldridge has a knee injury. From an X's and O's standpoint, small ball will continue to help San Antonio thrive. When Aldridge is the lone big man on the court, he's forced to be more aggressive in defense, and San Antonio's wings have the speed to tag Aldridge's man rolling down the lane before closing out to their own marks. But the harsh truth of the matter is the Spurs are trying to make the most of Aldridge because they overpaid him as a free agent and they're out of other options. Spurs fans can take solace in the fact his contract has no more than 2 years remaining.